Welcome to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. Now today I'm in a very special place. It's a big squarish room, huge. This is actually part of it's an Air Force base, yes. And, but this is turned into a very artsy, a place where you can gather a lot of people. It's just totally spacious. And you can imagine, once every month, you've got tons of people here just hearing everybody sharing their stories or hear their singing or performing or whatever. We'll learn more about that later. But please meet my guest. She is the director of the Red Room, and she is Roma Mehta. Hi, Roma.
Hi, thank you for the welcome.
You're most welcome. Yeah, I'm so glad that I can be here and to meet you in person. But Roma is from Calcutta, India, and she has been in Taiwan for 28 years. So I'm sure there's some special reason why she's here in Taiwan. But let's, Roma, what was your childhood like? I mean,
Growing up on the street, well, not on the streets literally, but growing up in Calcutta, it's a very, very crowded city, buzzing with life, and you can pretty much see every spectrum of life in front of you all the time. There's no escape, from the beggar on the street to the filth to very, very fancy stuff and big mansions, and the whole spectrum is available. So there was a lot of visual sort of constantly there's a lot of visual input and noise.
So do you find any similarity between Taipei and Calcutta?
Originally, when I came here, I felt that I was back in Calcutta, because I think even the Bengali people where Calcutta is in West Bengal, so the people who come from there are called Bengalis. Their habits are quite similar to the Taiwanese in some ways, so I kind of felt a little bit of similarity there. But this was many years ago, when I think it was just after martial law was lifted. So Taiwan was a very different place then.
That is true. Yeah, you've been back here longer than I have. I've only been back
Yes,
24
I'm
years.
sure. So I've seen it develop and grow and become this amazing city that we live in now. In fact, the whole country. But it's come a long way from that time, and it's been a very rapid progression. To see all those changes happen has been quite phenomenal. It's such a livable city now. It has been for a while, and I just enjoy it, and people are nice. I think that makes a huge difference in any place. No matter how beautiful a place is, if the people are not friendly, it's not welcoming. So I find that in Taiwan, anywhere you go, people are just extremely out of the way, friendly and very helpful and polite. And so it makes it very livable and lovable.
Oh, that is great. Well, we hear this a lot
Yes.
from foreigners that have lived here in Taiwan, or maybe didn't originally plan to live here, but then stayed on. So,
Well, that's pretty much what happened to us.
really? Yeah. I just got to jump right in. I just don't know what brought you to Taiwan.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Didn't come here as on design or by design.
So you were originally as a tourist?
No, not even that. We were living in Dubai, my husband and my daughter, who was then 2, and the three of us landed up here in transit on the way to Korea. We were supposed to go settle there.
Oh, okay. Because of your husband's business?
His job.
His job.
So we were in Dubai for about 5 years, and then he got this opportunity in Korea, so we were flying and we were transiting here because the same company had an office here. So they said, well, while your visa is being worked out, just come and hang out for a week and get to know the office.
How nice.
That was it. We never left.
Wait a minute. You didn't even make it to Korea?
No.
Serious?
Seriously.
Now, I've heard similar stories, but
Yeah.
yours is the most radical. But seriously? Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys just packed up and just left Dubai because you thought that you were going to move to Korea because of your husband's job.
Correct.
But then you end up staying here in
because
transit.
they needed him here instead, they found, so we just stayed on.
All right. sweet.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been 28 years.
Pretty much, yeah. It was 87 December when we came. So.
Okay. So then, well, what did that mean about life to you? Were you working then too, or just a housewife?
Yes,
or?
I was actually. I was working in
You were
an
working,
ad,
okay.
I used to work at an ad agency in Dubai, so I came here and found a job with an ad agency here. A really nice woman boss, and we got along really well, so it was fun. She spoke enough English for me to be able to work here with her.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, I worked with her for almost 5 years, and then I started my own company.
Oh, in also advertisement?
It's more print and design.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, graphic design and print.
I
So we
see.
don't really go into the media stuff.
And then while with your husband and you working, what did you do with your daughter, 2-year-old daughter?
Well, she went to a Chinese bilingual school during the days, so it was great. She loved it. She was really happy. It was a great place. So I kind of work, till 4 and picked her up, but then it was fine. When he was born here, when Manav was born,
Right, you're talking about your son.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Right, your younger
So when he
child.
was born, I basically stayed home and worked at home until he was old enough to go to school.
I see. So what made you decide to put your children in local schools so that they learn the Chinese language as well as English, I guess, the other languages.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
you want them to, you
Yeah,
were planning to stay here for good then. I mean, that you want them to master in the Chinese language. I guess
That
you also
was-
speak fluently, do
I
you?
know, I have to say, I'm very
Oh, shame,
poor in
shame.
I know. It's a lot to be ashamed of after saying it so many years. But yeah, it made sense to just get, familiar with the language, the culture. And I think coming from India, I know very well for a fact that if you don't learn the language of a place, then you don't really get the culture. It takes longer to
That is so true.
understand. So we thought, might as well get immersed in it right away. Doesn't matter how long we're planning to stay.
Oh, that is great. So they, because they started learning the language, the Chinese language at a very young age, they picked it up very quickly, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that is great. But when they have homework, when they have questions about their homework, who do they go to? How is your husband with his Chinese, though?
His Chinese is really good.
Really?
Yeah,
Like almost like
he's
a
got
local.
a, you know how they say some people have a ear for languages.
Yes, I believe that thing.
I think it's true because I obviously don't. No, his Chinese is really good. So he picked it up in business. Just he didn't really study it, and he just picked it up. So, but he speaks about 7, 8 different languages. So,
Whoa.
He does have that ear, which I
Yes.
don't.
Wow, that is great. That is great. So then, how was adjusting, your life to Taipei? Though you were saying earlier that it's very similar to Calcutta, but I'm sure there's a lot of culture difference. How did you deal with that?
I think we were young, we were up for a discovery and adventure, so it was an adventure. Every weekend we'd drive out and discover new places and meet new people and travel the island whenever we could. I think it was really fun it was different, like I said, it was harder. There were no signs in English.
Oh, back then.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you got lost, you got lost, There were
And
no
there were no
MRTs,
right,
and there
there
was
was-
no email.
No, and there were no smartphones or
No
GPS.
smartphones, none of that. So it was a bit of an adventure.
But you managed without really. I'm sure you have basic Chinese knowledge of. Basic knowledge of Chinese language, so you could still get around even if you got lost.
Yes. And in the old days, people used maps.
Yes.
So-
So you carried out a tattered map around with you of Taipei City. I
Something
see.
like that. Oh,
Yeah.
the island. We traveled the whole island.
You probably traveled more places than I have in Taiwan, really. How about in the meantime, helping your children to adjust to life here? What was that like?
It was fairly easy, I think. The school, the preschool, and the kindergarten that both of them went to was extremely open, and I participated a lot as a parent, helped them out with a lot of activities. So it was quite radically different from the traditional style. And even for the primary school, the one that Manav went to, we chose one that was more open and allowed parent participation, actually welcomed it, which is quite unusual. So there are not many schools that really encourage that. So being who we were, I think we were looking for something that could adapt and be open to differences.
Oh, that is great.
And I think it worked out pretty well. Of course, there were some hitches, but you get over them. And my daughter went to the English school, the Taipei English School, TES,
yes.
for the primary years. She didn't go to a Chinese public school.
Oh, okay.
But Manav did from the beginning, all through until middle school he finished. Yeah.
How was adjusting to food here in Taiwan? No trouble.
Great. It's fantastic food. Yeah.
If
The
it's
food
your,
is brilliant.
your diet, you could pretty much, find things
It's
easily.
a very balanced diet.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's very nutritious and light, and I don't know what's not to like.
Stinky tofu included?
I kind of stay away from that one.
What about the rest of your family? Could they get used to stinky tofu?
I don't think any of them particularly like it.
Okay. Yes, it's a required taste.
It is. It
Yes,
is.
it really is. What about the weather? How's the weather compared to Calcutta?
Pretty similar.
Similar, huh? Humid.
We're actually on the same latitude, and the only thing is that Taipei gets a little bit colder than Calcutta. Never gets that cold.
Yes, I think it's the humidity, the dampness that makes it
We're
colder.
pretty humid in
right?
Calcutta too.
Oh, yeah.
But the temperature doesn't drop. I mean, you got mountains here. We don't. We're on the bay.
Yeah.
So it's different.
So
Yeah.
how often do you go back to India?
A couple of times a year at least.
Oh, a couple of times a year. Oh, that's good. You still have family over there,
Sure,
relatives and everything.
sure.
Yeah. Did you ever convince them to come over to Taiwan?
Oh, my parents used to come every year.
Oh, wow.
They'd come and stay, and they've traveled the whole island many times over. So they've been visiting quite often. My in-laws have visited a couple of times, and other friends and family have come occasionally, yeah.
Oh. How much do you know about the population from India in Taiwan? I mean, are you in touch with them? And do you know how big of a population of people from India that are...
When I first came, there was a pretty large population.
Not anymore?
Not so much anymore.
Oh, why is that?
I'm not sure. I never really looked into it. I know there were a lot of people in business before when I first arrived. A lot of trading companies. And I guess, when things changed in Taiwan and it became more expensive and a lot of the factories moved to mainland China.
Yeah, that's a sticky issue.
Yeah, that's when they all kind of exited because it wasn't their business wasn't being supported here, basically.
Right.
So after that, I've noticed in the last 15 years, I've noticed more professionals coming in. Like, they'd be affiliated to a bank or a big corporation. So you get more people who are, not really business type people, but more corporate professionals. So it's a smaller number, basically.
Right. I think I understand that because of the time difference between India and here, that actually a lot of people are outsourcing their work, so that things that, I don't know, maybe it's like writing up a strategic plan or some kind of a computer program or something like that. Here, we send it over to India when it's just about the start of a new day, and they finish it while we're sleeping at night, and by the time we get up in the morning, they would have already finished the project and sent it over. So there's this whole, I don't know, how much you know about this, but apparently this is an advantage, I guess, to some enterprises.
For sure.
This kind of
but
outsourcing.
Actually, I think that applies more to the U.S. Rather than Taiwan, because Taiwan and India only have 2.5 hour difference. But yes, in the U.S., definitely it works like magic.
because we believe that people from India are smart people, very, I mean, great at business and everything. Yeah, we know that you guys are a smart group of people, so it's always great to be able to work together. It's despite being, on different parts of the world. So
I think a big advantage is also the fact that English is not a problem. I think that's one of the biggest perks, because you can talk to somebody who understands what needs to be done in the same language. It's kind of, I think, as far as Taiwan's concerned, that's been a little bit of a drawback, because not a lot of people communicate in English or use it as a professional language so much. So I think it's easier to deal with India for other countries as long as English is the common language.
That is right. Well, Taiwanese people need to improve more in their English. I mean, so much that Taiwan wants to be globalized and all that kind of stuff. But I think English is a thing, sort of like a starting point to, gradually working towards globalization for Taiwan.
For sure, and I think that's one of the big advantages, or I wouldn't say advantage, I think that's one of the big perks that you get out of being part of the Red Room community, because it's a very, as I mentioned to you earlier, it's a very non-judgmental space. So people can come and try to communicate with others in English, and it's very casual. It's not threatening, and you get to meet international crowd, and it's easier to mingle, and you don't feel so self-conscious doing it.
That is right.
So I think that's been one of the big things that I've noticed, and I know Chuping is very. He speaks about it a lot at every Red Room, and he encourages the younger generation to be bold and come to the Red Room and mingle and meet others and speak in English and practice. And he thinks it's a really good way to develop that skill.
Sure. Well, now that you mentioned about Red Room, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but we're going to take a break before we continue.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. Now, here with me, I have Roma and Manav Mehta, who are, Roma is the director, and Manav is the curator of the Red Room, and we're right at the Red Room right here. It's a huge, squarish, huge room, really, and it's part of the Air Force Base, yes. But anyway, so what is the Red Room? We're going to find out from Roma and Manav, okay? So first of all, Manav, you're the curator of the Red Room, but first of all, I want you to tell our audience what is the Red Room and how it came about.
So the Red Room essentially was just the name for an event called Stage Time and Wine that we would run once a month on the third Saturday of every month. Then it was to create, through Aisha, my sister, and Ping and Roma, basically their idea was to create, Aisha's idea was to create a platform for all of her friends, because she's a musician, so she has friends who are painters, who are poets, who are storytellers, and the original purpose was simply to have an occasion, a gathering for all of them to kind of mingle, hang out, and each of them to have an opportunity to express themselves, share something. So we set a few guidelines, kind of like a lot of open mics out there, and the format was everyone comes in, they contribute a bottle of wine, they bring a vegetable to contribute to our stone soup, and they each sign up at the front desk, wherever we had it, to go up on stage and share something. And we set a guideline for 5 minutes so that everyone had a chance.
Right.
And so we did that once a month, and we got a big, lots of feedback, a lot of attendees, a lot of people who contributed and shared, and it became a bit of a festive occasion. It was nice, and it was very warm, and I think the one word that came out the most after that was, it was really intimate. And especially like the kind of behavior we're encountering every day, not a lot of things are very intimate. The way we exchange thoughts, the way we share ideas, a lot of it's through a digital format, whether it's the computer or your cell phone. There's a lot of distance between you and whoever you're communicating to. And so even at a bar, some people feel insecure. Even though I'm surrounded by 80 people, I don't feel secure enough to engage with anyone there. But the stage time and wine occasion was simply like, let's break that barrier.
Okay.
And
well, you mentioned about Ping earlier. We
Yeah.
need to fill in our listeners or our viewers about who Ping is. Zhu Ping, he is actually the founder of Aveda, and I think by accident he met your sister over in
Dulan. In
where?
Dulan, in
Taidong,
Taidong
Dulan.
Yeah.
County.
Oh, right,
Yes.
Taidong. So and then got talking, and this is how this whole Red Room got started. Wait a minute, why Red Room? Why called Red Room?
Aisha
Well,
would have to be the
yeah,
one
why?
to answer that.
Your sister.
Yeah.
Yes. And she's over in Melbourne right now, so you
Yes.
can answer for her.
I have no idea why it's called Red Room. I was part of it when it was. I was part of the naming of Stage Time and Wine,
Okay.
and I kind of just jumped in after they had already established this idea of Red Room. I don't know if you know why it's the Red Room.
This room is not even red. I mean, there's a red chair.
It
but-
escapes me.
There's a lot of red.
Cushions, the door,
Yes,
the
okay.
antiques.
Well, we'll give you a view about those later, all the reds here in this room. And also the sign. Who designed this?
Levin Huang.
Oh,
He's a
so
friend.
he's, yeah.
So we had been running for a good year, and we wanted a logo. And we were celebrating our first year anniversary in a big way at Huashan, Wenshuangshu. And so we wanted to consistently bring out that community contribution feel. And so we opened it up, and we asked a number of people to contribute logo designs. And we had a little vote with a group of people, and Levin's the one that came out on top.
So what is it though? Can you
Well,
describe it?
Can I describe the logo?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of relates to yin and yang, the way I interpret it. So
Yeah,
it's kind of-
I figured that much.
Sure, so all-encompassing in its own way. It's obviously red, and these happen to be the letters ED and OOM. And these two spheres were simply a symbol we could use. And it's
ED and OOM?
red
Oh, got it.
room.
Okay, so it's the RED and then the ROOM. Got it.
Yeah.
Red room.
It's
Very
also two R's.
nice. Yeah.
If you
right.
look at it just that way. Yeah.
Right.
So-
Exactly.
And I think if I were to just go ahead and try and answer that question for why it's the red room, I think, ask yourself, what does red mean to you?
Red is a very Chinese color.
Sure.
It means celebrity. No, the word is, yes, yeah,
You mean
Auspicious.
popular.
It's also auspicious.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Celebration. That's what I meant. Right.
Passion, love,
Passion.
wine. And so the color of what, our heart, our organs, our internals, like everything that is close to one another. It's a really strong color to relate to for anyone.
Okay.
And so I to answer that, I'd be like, why not the red room? If I called it the blue room, it would seem rather, I don't know.
Gloomy.
Blue.
Yeah, gloomy.
Blue
that's a word.
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday blues.
But I mean,
Okay.
we are night owls, so we're a big fan of lunar,
All right.
a big fan of moonlight, big fan of that kind of atmosphere. But still, and I think the fact that we're in Taipei, Taiwan, to have that relation to the Chinese culture as well, where red is not so much in the communist aspect of things, but more on the, like you were referring to, the culture, the antiques, the artwork, a lot of that red pops out. And so
You're
it's
right.
really how you interpret it. And red room just kind of worked, and it rolls off the tongue.
Yes. And so, okay, so people come here and basically you don't have a lot of strict rules. I mean, anybody can just show up, and then if they decide on the spur of the moment to sign up and do a 5-minute thing on stage in front of everybody, that's all fine. So it could be either people saying their own songs or whatever, or you're saying, I don't know, maybe people want to tell jokes.
Sure.
That too.
Original
And,
writing, poetry.
poetry.
We've had somebody just walk up and say, I've had a really bad day. Do you mind if I just sit here and scream? And she did for 5 minutes. And we all got up and embraced her after she'd finished. And that's the kind of reception you get,
I also coined her the Red Room Banshee. I'm not sure how fond she is of that title. But yeah, no, that's Stage Time and Wine, right?
Yeah.
And Red Room and Stage Time and Wine for a long time were associated as one thing. In reality, we're trying to express to the larger demographic and also our core Red Roomers that now to understand that Red Room is a space, it's a community, and it's a combination of a lot of things. Stage Time and Wine is that one format of an event. And so, yeah, we opened up people to come up on stage. They tell jokes, they read poetry of their own or from, admired authors.
Can they talk about maybe starting up a business or something and then talk about
Of course,
that?
if it's something that is culturally influential or artistically inclined, we're more receptive as a crowd. But if it's something where you're trying to market a commercial goods or products, overall, you're not going to get a good feedback to begin with. And we also, and my job and our future hosts and other hosts we've had on board, our job essentially is to make sure we mediate that so that doesn't happen too often. If you want to promote something, you let us know ahead of time and then we'll do it for you. And we'll talk about it to the crowd for you because we'll have a different spin to it. Rather than plugging in someone else's advertisement, we'll help. Express that to the crowd of people, and you can just be who you want to be and share. Maybe talk about why you started it rather than how to get involved and how to buy my product. So we have fewer of those.
Do everybody have to speak English if they go in front? No.
All languages are welcome.
All languages are welcome.
Always have been.
She's gone up in Hindi, we've had Spanish, we've had Japanese, we've had gibberish.
You would have people to translate on the side?
If they want to or they
If
don't.
they want to.
We receive it anyway.
I think
The experience. I think it's all about the experience, and that's why it's important to be present, because just seeing it on a video or hearing it somewhere is not going to be the same feeling. And there's a lot of things we understand without understanding specifically the language, right?
Wow, yes.
So,
Okay, this is actually not the first Red Room. I think this is like, because or you moved. I thought that there was
just
another
moved
one.
in September.
Oh, okay, I got it. It got
Yeah.
bigger, right?
Yeah.
When you were over at Taiwan Road, that was smaller and you've gotten bigger. You had to expand because there are more and more people. Is that why? Attending?
Yes, in a way, yes, but also because this was an opportunity that came up. The Taiwan, this is the old Taiwan Air Force Base, which has been abandoned for almost 12 years. And there's a team here, Wei Gongstein, what's the official name of the company? Wei Gongstein. Anyway, the Taiwan Air Force Innovation.
They're representing the innovation base at the Air Force. They helped mediate this project between the ministries of culture, education, and industrial department.
Right.
So that's my team. I don't know the official title.
So the government has recognized the Red Room. Would you say
We
so?
are registered under the Ripple Maker Foundation, which is an actual foundation founded by Chuping and
Yes.
Ming, right? And the Red Room is under that, and so is the Happier Cafe, which is next door. So we're both under that foundation. And because this was considered as a social innovation project, trying to drive the youth and Taiwan towards more socially innovative activities and programs, we kind of qualified because we've been pretty much doing that for the last 5.5 years.
Sure.
So that's one of the reasons why we qualified to come into this space. So it wasn't like we were out looking for a space. It just became an opportunity that came
That's a
by.
blessing.
Yes,
Yeah, that's really
it's only
great.
a 6 months project.
Right.
So yeah, it's a pop-up for 6 months only. So all 3 entities in this building that you see are signed up only for 6 months,
6 months?
until March.
Oh, then what happens afterwards?
We don't know.
You have a new president of Taiwan.
Yeah, okay, yes, that is true.
It won't be up to us to decide.
I
But we're
see.
quite happy for this opportunity for 6 months to see if we can expand that community and do more programs based on the community that we built in the last 6 years.
So what's the drive for the success of the Red Room?
The drive for the success?
Yeah, what's the cause?
You belong.
What brought?
You belong to each other. People help each other. They tap into. Red Room creates an opportunity for anyone to tap into their own creative energy and find a platform or an opportunity to realize it. So you find people who can help you, who can work with you, whether it's an artist or a musician or a photographer or just somebody who likes to stitch and sew or do anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think I see somebody's, an artist's work up here.
2.
Two, yeah, right here in the Red Room right now. That is really, really neat. So what are people getting out of this? What have people left telling you when they left this place?
I'll let you answer some of that.
What are some of the comments or some of their responses?
Well, so we started out with Stage Time and Wine, which I mentioned lightly earlier was an intimate setting that connected one to the other.
And everybody brought their own juice, right? That was your encouragement, wasn't it?
Sure, wine, juice, soda,
Wine, juice,
beer,
whatever.
and you contribute to the soup, and basically you're
Yeah,
part
you
of a
offer
community
soup.
feeling. And they take away what they contribute. And that makes it, in a way, less work for us. We simply make sure and ensure that the space is welcoming. We invite the right people. We attract the right people. We are, hoping to be the right people in the midst of such a huge crowd of, individuals who want to contribute, want to give, want to learn. And one of I think our main points was for a performance, for Stage Time and Wine, you break that fourth wall. It's not you sitting back, folding your arms and expecting the show. It's you being receptive, you thinking, you listening. And I think a lot of our few things are lines we like to use, not so much slogans, but more just lines to express what we do is that, one, we celebrate amateurism. Two, we mediate and curate creative platforms for people. And overall, we hope to continue creating, with our communities, help a listening space. So now that we're in the Red Room at a larger scale, we do gallery events, we do live music events, we do radio short story events with Red Room Radio Redux, run by Ruth Giordano. We have a friend in Elon who does a lot of craft work, and he created a handmade bar from driftwood in old woods.
It's all upcycled. It's no new wood has been used in that at all. It's all discarded pieces of furniture that he's put
a
together.
gentleman named Ben McCaffrey. The antiques were provided by Bywin Antiques.
And what about this like old Chinese style bed? Yes, all made of wood, and that's a nice piece of thing. This doesn't even look.
It's more than a thing. It
doesn't even look old. It's like very well preserved. So and then you've got 4 pieces of huge red rugs in the middle, where it's for people to sit down on the floor while, here right where we are is the stage. Have you performed here in this stage area, Manav?
Performed?
Yeah, you yourself.
For this new Red Room space?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
You haven't had your chance yet.
I haven't wanted that chance.
You're building up to this chance, right?
Well, I think it's been like close to 6 years. So I used to be the MC for Stage Time and Wine for the first 5 years, or 4 years and 9 months, or whatever. And as the MC, you want to make sure that the crowd and the atmosphere is consistent and it's upbeat and it's fun, and make sure everyone who's performed felt engaged and felt appreciated. So I used to write poems, I used to play a few songs, I used to be there, and I used to have the right quirks or right statements or the wrong ones to say. That was my performance, that was my contribution. So I've performed before, but I still get just as nervous. And it's been like 5.5 years.
You never get used to it.
This new space, there's so many people who want to perform, and I feel personally, I'm kind of consumed running this with our team that I haven't sat down to write anything. This is something I want to do.
This is really wonderful. I mean, I got the feeling that people nowadays, especially young people nowadays, they all want a stage to express themselves, to share their ideas, or even like to let out, pent up emotions or whatever. And I think this is the very space, am I right, that you're creating for
it's
people.
It's a safe space to share.
Right, and it's a healthy space because people all need to share, let out, contribute, so they don't feel like they're always taking, but they can also give.
Right.
Because that's how you contribute to the stone soup, which that everybody brings something to put in the soup and becomes a very yummy soup, right, at the end. Well, that is really wonderful. Where do you want to go from here?
We've been sort of playing it month by month. We have no big plans or a 5-year projection of any kind, never has been. It's, we kind of go with the flow,
Right.
What was that one statement on creatives? Creatives go from one project, and once they're complete with that project, they go to the next project, and they go to the next project. Like we don't have a 5-year plan. And I think that's one of the reasons why this has turned out the way it's turned out. You know?
Because I think people all need to be dreamers. And I think both of you are dreamers, including your daughter and maybe your husband too. You're dreamers.
Well,
know,
I think
how things move
Ping
forward.
is also a pretty big dreamer, and he's a visionary, and we have to give him credit for believing in everything that's happening and has happened, and being so supportive. And you know, he keeps encouraging because he does a lot of talks all over the universities and at different seminars and things, and he's written a few books to encourage people to break out of that shell and, you know, explore. And so for you know, he's done his fair bit in spreading the word and letting people come and experience what we've created here. So he keeps bringing new people in to just and some stay and some don't, you know.
Yes.
You can never please everybody,
Right.
right? But I think he's also been a pretty big visionary in this whole process. I would have to give him credit for that.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that is really great. Well, but before we say goodbye, though, I want to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
Just pop 2 questions.
May
from
I
you, right?
interrupt you just to say, because
Yeah.
I want to just quote something we use a
Oh, please
lot
do.
over here.
Okay.
And it's a quote by W.B. Yeats. It's something we truly believe and embrace. We remind everybody, every stage, time, and wine, and every event, that there are no strangers here, only friends you haven't yet met.
Oh, that is very sweet.
Yeah, it kind of
that
sums
is
it up.
that is a very comforting statement. Yes. Oh, that is very nice.
Mm.
I like that. Okay, so 2 questions,
Okay.
and that is, what's the first thing you think of when I say your favorite Taiwanese food? Roma?
I like dumplings. I love sui jiao.
Oh, 水饺, dumplings, okay.
Yes.
It's these, you know, a pastry, kind of doughy pastry on the outside, wrapped with some meat and vegetables, or, you know, the filling, yeah. And then you either cook it or steam it. And
Correct.
then dip it in soy sauce, and that's a yummy thing.
Yeah,
Yes, that
I
is
think
right.
I can live on that for a long time.
All right, good. Nice and simple. Yeah, fast to go. What about Manav? What's yours?
Every single 青菜 available in Taiwan.
Vegetables.
地瓜叶,
Good.
空心菜, like all of it.
Right,
So
Manav
good.
just named off a whole lot of different vegetables here in Taiwan.
Well, we have such a huge variety of green vegetables
Greens,
here.
yes,
And they're cooked fresh and brought to you fresh. And
I mean, they're
that's-
covered in salt and MSG, but it's so good.
Okay, another one. What's the first thing you think of when it's a must-go place for tourists? Roma?
I would have to say Miaoli, because I just visited there like 2 weeks ago. We went up to the mountain to Shepa, I think it's Shepa
Shepa National Park?
National Park. It's at 1900 meters. It is drop dead gorgeous. It's so peaceful, and it just cleanses all the cobwebs in your head, and you come out feeling like a new person.
You
But
love
it's just
nature.
beautiful. It's very beautiful, and we spent a lot of time with the Thaya community there, and they
Yes,
were very
one of our
welcoming.
Aboriginal tribes, yes.
And they were
Okay.
extremely welcoming, and it was really fun hanging out with them and meeting them. But just, you know, so they're very welcoming, and they're happy to welcome visitors. But it's just a beautiful place to travel through those mountains.
It's only like a couple of
And there
hours
are
drive
so
away, right?
many, and
Yeah.
there are so many beautiful places in Taiwan.
Oh, I know. Yes,
Yeah.
but you can only name one.
Okay, I named
What
one.
about Manav?
Well, I was, we grew up in Tianmu, Yangmingshan. So if you're gonna come to Taipei, I can't think of a spot in the city. I would definitely just say in the mountains like Yangmingshan, and I can't name one spot. I would have to say just get on the right shoes and just go.
All right.
Because that's what's so beautiful about Taiwan. I mean, it's
Right.
really humid. It's one negative aspect to it. But overall, it's beautiful up there. And that's the greenery, the nature, the natural side of Taiwan. That's what I would push for.
Good. That yummy mountain is just right outside Taipei City, so it's a little drive up the hills. Yes. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful, and I'm happy for you guys with the Red Room, and I hope that it continues to do well and attract even more people. So thank you so much for
Thank
what you're
you,
doing
Shirley.
for the
Yeah.
people of Taiwan. Thank you.
Oh, for us too.
All
Believe
right.
me.
Okay.
Brings us great pleasure. But thank you for this
Okay,
interview.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching Into Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin.